Okay.
That conversation was so confusing. Y'all talking about things I don't know
You
anything
haven't
about.
played Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Nope.
Oh,
Except
really?
for uh, the free trial
Oh, I
sections and
thought you
very
had.
little even of that.
Yeah, it's full free to play now. Although,
Yeah, but my computer could barely handle it to begin with, and I wasn't that enthused.
Let's go raid some supply depots, guys.
Where I thought we were
Um,
having to infiltrate a Sith base to capture this guy before he was
No.
assassinated.
No.
Wait, why not?
I
That
thought,
sounds
wasn't he
fun.
arriving? I thought he was arriving and then going to the Capitol building. I thought that's what was happening.
Nope.
Oh, I was wrong.
But before we start, I have one more question.
Yep.
Is the Jedi Service Corps a thing at this point in time?
don't think so.
Okay.
As in, like the people who are kicked out because they're too lame to be actual Jedi, or
Yeah, those guys.
yeah, that's a thing.
Oh,
yeah,
It is?
it's
Ouch.
not necessarily kicked out. They're
Well,
reassigned
yeah.
to less hazardous, less influential missions, shall we say?
they don't make it to
And then
knighthood.
Del recruits them and forms a force-using army.
Hey, you've got competition there, buddy.
Hey, we can work together, it's fine.
Okay, that's true. Allies.
Kyreth, you're turning the player characters into the villains. Why?
What?
Kyra
We'll fight against the
is?
Sith, clearly. I don't understand how this is a problem.
How is someone who wants to get rid of slavers a villain?
Wait. Eagle just blamed Kyrath, then Kylar spoke up. So you two are the same person.
Alright, are we starting again now?
Area goes and finds Del. Del, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice trick you got there. Did you learn that at spy school too, or did you pick it up on your own?
What are you talking about?
You have no business getting into my brother's mind or mine, so stay out of it. And by the way, your whole loose morals and I'm not bound by a code thing is ridiculous. Just because my brother and I follow a code that keeps us in line, that doesn't let us be a loose cannon that kills whoever we feel like at the time, doesn't mean that we're any worse than you are, or that we're not willing to do what is necessary.
I didn't say you were worse than me.
You obviously don't think much of us if you think it's fine to just pry into our heads.
Look, I just need to know where you guys stood with this resistance.
I think I've made it very clear. We stand with them. We're here to help them. We were here long before you were.
You're here to do the Jedi Council's bidding, which doesn't seem to be helping the resistance. It seems to be gathering intelligence for the Jedi Order instead.
Nope, I'm here to help these people get back their home. I just happen to be a Jedi at the same time.
Look, it's not feasible to successfully capture this guy.
Not in your limited imagination. And I don't remember asking you to put your life or any of their lives on the line to do it. I simply made it a fact that neither my brother nor Kalani are going to be participating in the assassination attempt. From my perspective, gave you a viable alternative, but you don't even want us to attempt it because you're afraid that it's somehow going to interfere or be worse off.
Well, let's see. If you go try to capture him before our window of opportunity for the resistance, his guard will be raised if you fail. And by doing so, if you have to evacuate and leave with him, which you probably should because the Sith will be coming looking for you, if you want to keep him for any amount of time, you'll have to leave the planet. That doesn't send a good signal to anyone. because it doesn't show the Resistance doing anything. And it also shows that the Jedi just take what they want and then they leave. It's not good optics for anybody.
Well, okay, so let's say that the Resistance tries their plan and fails. What do you think's going to happen when they realize that these people tried to kill their governor? Do you think he's just going to rub that off his shoulder and be okay with it? Or do you think he's going to round up as many people as he can and kill them as an example?
The point here is, if you succeed or you fail, it's not good for the Resistance or the people of this planet. If the Resistance succeeds, then it is good for the people of this planet. That's the point.
Until the next one comes and takes his place and does exactly what I said. At least by capturing him, we gain something in return. You do realize this planet isn't the only one occupied by Sith.
I'm very well aware of that.
Then you should know that as much as I'd like to help these people and am willing to put my life on the line to help these people, I also have to consider the bigger picture, and so do Jedi Council. Just because you're not bound by those laws doesn't make you any less responsible for what happens. And I don't think that someone like you should be talking to us about what's good for the Jedi.
Look, I'm just trying to help these people out. The Sith are occupying this planet, and I owe it to John.
Then give some hope to them. Show them there's a better way than just stooping to the Sith's level.
We can't capture him and remain on the planet. How does that help the Resistance?
I'm not asking you to capture him. I'm asking you to have faith. Let my brother and I worry about taking him off the planet. Your faces doesn't even have to be shown.
That's not the point. The point is we're using the intel that we've uncovered to strike a blow in public very visibly that the Resistance has strength. That's the point. And if you remove him from the playing field, we lose that opportunity.
This temporary thing, and as I've already said, I know how the Sith operate. It will last a moment, and then the Sith will double down on their own strength.
They don't have the resources to spend so much time at looking after one planet. If we can convince the people to rise up, they won't have the resources to devote to just sending them here. And if they will, then the Republic can be lying in wait for them to attack, because we'll know what they're going to be doing. They're going to be coming here to try and squash the rebellion. And it also frees up other planets. You're worried about the other systems? If we create enough of a problem for them on this world, it diverts resources from other worlds, which might make them easier to free as well. And if they realize he's captured, they'll just change their fleet formations and everything, because they'll realize that their information and their troop movements are compromised if he does break. So you'll have maybe a week to capitalize on any information you have from him.
But they'll be confused. You're right, they'll have to move, they'll have to shift, which means a lot more confusion and a lot less coordination. They won't know exactly what to expect or how much information he's given. And a week may be all we need. But your plan ensures that they will double down, that they will try and harm everyone they can to make a point. If they're busy looking for a missing governor, they'll at least be busy doing something.
They won't be busy looking for him if they know he's off the system. They won't affect the troops here. You don't think they'll double down when you've gone and spirited away their leader? Like you said, they'll still just replace him just as quickly, or if not more quickly, than if we successfully assassinate him. And it does no difference to the people here. The fallout will be the same. Except in that instance, it seems as though the Jedi took what they wanted without concern for the people.
That's the only lens you can see anything through. I don't think people will see it that way when there's 3 Jedi still on this planet, still fighting for them. Regardless, it doesn't matter what you think will happen. Only the Force knows that. All I can tell you is what's right and what's wrong, and this plan is wrong. It goes against everything I've ever been taught. And that's enough for me. Maybe you need to start thinking about what's right and what's wrong instead of just numbers and outcomes.
What is right is what saves the most number of people. And
Then
not
you should
people
side
that
with
I...
me.
That, well, yours diverts attention away from Ventuine, potentially. I need the biggest distraction that I have on Ventuine to save the most number of people.
It sounds like you're the one who doesn't care about the planet.
I do care about the planet. I also care about the Jedi Order and the rest of the galaxy. We have something on us. You've probably sensed it if you haven't yet. There's something on us that we destroyed an artifact, and the Sith were looking for it. It's this powerful, dark force energy creature of some sort, and it keeps getting more powerful. Ajak and my other associate are on this planet looking for something that can actually destroy it. If we let it fall into Sith hands, or we fail to find what can actually destroy it, the Sith will eventually get their hands on it. We can't hold them off forever. And when they do, they'll destroy planets. They'll destroy the Jedi Order. They'll win the war. I can't let that happen.
And why are you here? Your very presence puts these people in danger.
Draws attention away from my associates looking for what we need. They were pinned down by heavy Sith presence. We're looking to lighten it up for them. And if I can free this world from Sith occupation at the same time, then I'm going to do it.
You still haven't convinced me or told me how assassinating the governor helps you in this long-term plan. It sounds to me like you need a big distraction. If they're busy looking for some governor, then they won't be busy looking for whatever it is you're talking about. An assassination is one and done, then they're just looking for murderers.
The one and done is a display of force to recruit the people of the planet to try and overthrow the Sith. If we can convince enough people to start small skirmishes with them across the planet, they'll be too busy dealing with the insurrection to look for my friends. And if they put up enough of a fight, the Sith won't have enough resources to fully take control of the planet again.
I think you underestimate the resources that the Sith have. From what I can tell, there doesn't seem to be an end. Maybe you're right. Maybe in the short term this seems like the better plan. And maybe mine's more of a long-term strategy. A pie-in-the-sky long-term strategy.
It's not a long-term strategy if they change everything after a week because they know that one of their generals is missing and their intelligence is compromised. It gains you very little in the way of the entire galaxy.
Do you know who the top leaders are surrounding Revan? You know who his generals are, their names, who the defectors are.
Now, if you could enlighten me, that might prove useful.
I wish I could, but we don't know that either. However, this Jedi used to be a Jedi Master. This governor, he probably knows. Revan trusts rogue Jedi. He seems to think people like you that lead the Order are enlightened in some way. If we capture him, maybe I can tell you who those people are. Whatever, Jam.
I know, just for my clarification.
That's assuming you can get him to talk. And you can get him off planet successfully, and the Sith won't hunt you down and stop you before you can find out any information, and that he won't just lie to you. And that knowing who the leaders are will mean that we can actually get to them, because they'll still be deep in Sith forces, most likely.
Yep, as I said, it's a long shot. Right now, this war is surviving on long shots. Look, you do what you want. We don't have time for this kind of argument over and over. I'm working on a plan to capture him. I'll probably let you know before I leave. Just don't get into my brother's head again. Understand?
Del nods.
And I leave.
Del goes to Edith.
Okay, you find her in her office. But before we do that, is there anything that anyone else wanted to do before Del gets another chance to do stuff?
I can wait until after, but I still want to go try to find Pakaz and talk to him, see where he comes down on all this.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. Okay, we'll do that. Since you mentioned that a while ago.
Well, I don't want to break Del's stride. I mean, you can keep going with him and then come back to me.
No, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So if you're coming to see me, then you probably just walk into the room we were given to stay in, and I'm just on my bed looking at my data pad.
Oh, are we all just in a squad bay or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I walk over and I say, where do you come down on this whole capture or kill thing?
Kill. After a quick interrogation.
Wait, quick interrogation for what?
Well, I mean, if we can incapacitate him without him being immediately dead in the first place. But other than that, kill him.
Well, what do you want to know that you think he might know?
I don't know, he could know a lot of things. I can get into his head for a little bit.
Okay, I roll my eyes and say, how quick?
Couple minutes. Max.
That's all I needed.
That's all the time I want to risk.
That's all I needed to hear. And I leave and I go back to Edith.
So you probably beat me to Edith because you had much shorter conversations than I did.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I got the answer I wanted. I didn't have to convince him of anything.
That's true.
Okay, John, so you make it back to talk with Edith, ahead of Del, who's at this point actually still talking with Ariel. She looks up when you come in. Ah, John, do you have an update for me?
Yes.
What is it?
I look over at Ariel. Ariel's like is Zeri's character. She's the Jedi. Is that right?
Yep.
And she's here. I don't have pictures yet. I just have a little names at the bottom. They all changed, so I don't know who's who. And I say to Edith, the Jedi are resolute in their refusal to kill the Sith. However, Del, Kaz, and I are on board.
Do you believe that you are well equipped enough to pull it off?
I don't know what equipment we have. I don't know what personnel is available. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the timetables are for where he's going to be and when. I have no idea. I can't answer that question. I need all that information before I can say.
Okay, well, let's go over the situation then. And she, like, pulls up, like, a hollow projector display that starts showing some of the intel. So we'll say that she's going over that while Dell arrives.
Is that the intel?
Yes. We're going over it because we're trying to determine whether we have enough resources to pull off the assassination attempt without the Jedi's help.
Well, forget them not helping. They might cause a problem. I gather the impression that they're going to try to capture him before he makes his way to the Capitol building. If they fail, his guards will be so up they might alter the plans.
I agree. Before we discuss any of this intelligence, we need to determine what our objective is, and depending on that, maybe dismiss certain company present.
Well, they have the intel themselves, they downloaded it, so getting rid of them isn't going to solve anything. If anything, it will let them move with more freedom.
Our number one objective is to have a strong show of force to show the Sith and the people of Ventuin that we can strike against them, and also to disrupt and sow chaos among the ranks of the Sith by assassinating their leader. You can see, like, she's, like, intently thinking. The main thing that we want is a public event that we can show our strength.
My concern with the Jedi's plan to capture not only the logistics, but of the actual capture itself, but once they have a prisoner, they'll most likely have to take him off-world. And seeing the Jedi depart may not be the display of force that you were looking for.
Why would we have to take him off-world? Couldn't we hold him here?
Everyone will be looking for him. It's very... If he wants to be found, other Sith may be able to use the Force to locate his position.
Can you, or Pakaz, or the Jedi prevent that?
Well, if the Jedi can, they didn't bring it up when I mentioned the problem.
Because if we were able to capture him from the safety of the Sith base and hold him prisoner, we could in theory release some videos of him showing him as our prisoner. That would also display strength.
I'm just concerned about the logistics of keeping him prisoner. And the logistics of successfully capturing him.
Well, if the Jedi are going to insist on trying, then we might have to aid them such that they have the highest chance of success. We can capture him, interrogate him, and then do a public execution on video camera and release it to the people of Ventuin, showing them justice against this Sith dictator.
I'm not sure a public execution will play well necessarily, but I guess we could come to that. Good luck getting the Jedi to go along with that.
I have a small point here. I don't have anything against killing the Sith, but staging a public execution makes us look just like the terrorists they're claiming we are.
That's my concern as well.
Okay, guys, roll persuasion. You can roll with advantage since you're both arguing that.
You know what? If this fails, I'm totally gonna mind trick her into not executing him later.
Wait, are we both rolling?
Yeah, because they're both arguing for it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
I can't.
Ooh,
Okay, then.
Nat 20. Boom.
Okay, yeah, you notice as she was talking, she was sort of like you could sense some more like anger and frustration in her, but like when you say that, she sort of like looks off into the distance for a second, and you see like a sad look in her eye, and then she says, "Yes, I guess that wouldn't be the best course of action."
If we did capture him and interrogate him, the using of footage of him being interrogated might also play us as terrorists. Not that, but the capturing itself has to be public enough that we still have the display of force. But after we have him, turning him over to the Republic would probably be the best bet, so that they can see that we're fighting with Republic ideals and that we're not terrorists.
Well, from what I can gather, the whole reason that the governor is making this trip to the capital in such a way is as a show of force.
So if we capture him in the midst of it, we ruin his image while bolstering our own.
That is what I was thinking.
The problem is to get how we get close enough to actually capture him. And I don't like the odds. But if the Jedi are going to try to capture him before he does this, I agree that we don't really have a choice either to try and... We have two options. We have imprisoning the Jedi, which I don't think we have the manpower to accomplish, or we work with them to make sure it has the highest odds of success. Because I believe that they're going to try it without us.
Well, if we could imprison the Jedi, why wouldn't we be able to imprison the Sith?
Because the Jedi won't kill you. And they don't have an entire army outside looking for them.
Well, as I was showing John here, these are the intel that we know. So she goes over the fact that, Darth Ulagos arrived on the planet a few days ago, and he's been staying at one of the main Sith compounds, and that the plan is for him to stay there until he goes to take up residence in the Capitol building. So he's going to be escorted there in, like, basically, like an armored escort / parade type thing, with, like 10 armored transports, and that basically from the intel, and it looks like the best place to ambush him would be like in the middle of that route, where you're like furthest away from the two places, so that there's not a lot of Sith presence, although there still will be significant Sith presence. And like one of the benefits of doing it on here is because it's supposed to be a show of force, he's not just going to stay like cooped up inside the transport. He's actually going to be like visible, because it's basically like a mock parade sort of thing. So he's going to be visible from one of the transports during part of the route, and that's where they're planning on assassinating him.
The only way I see getting close enough to actually capturing him would be is if we can get enough civilians. Are there going to be civilians showing up to this thing? Is it mandated? I would imagine if they want to show a display of force, they would want to falsely make it appear as though the civilians are on board with the occupation.
Yes, they are enforcing attendance at this event. For at least the people who live nearby.
If we can get them to riot, we could sneak in the confusion.
She just like groans and like puts her head into her hands. She says, "So that a Jedi don't want to kill someone, but they want us to incite the citizens of Ventuine to riot and possibly die, so that we can capture and spare the life of the Sith who's enslaving them."
Well,
that
that's
makes literally no sense. Jedi are ridiculous.
That's my plan for capturing. They don't have a plan yet, and I fear the longer you keep them out of this loop, they'll come up with their own plan and not tell us when they enact it. So we might want to continue planning with them, as unfortunate as you and I and John may think it is.
If I can interject a moment. First of all, we don't know that the Jedi don't have a plan. All we know is they won't tell us if they do have a plan. Secondly, inciting a riot is a terrible idea, and we're not doing that because it's going to get a lot of innocent people killed for no good reason. They'll have plenty of time to get killed once we put rifles in their hands. Do either one of you know anything about destroying a convoy?
Well, if we're going to destroy it, it would require a lot more heavy armament than we have access to now. The other trick would be we'd have to use personnel weapons rather than vehicles because they're sure to have the whole area under flight restrictions. We can't really maneuver vehicles, so we'll have to rely on like hand-mounted rockets, which we don't have.
Which is why we'd need to raid that supply depot first.
Have you made a determination of where you want to mount this attack?
She gestures to a point on the map that's being displayed.
Okay, I want to look at the terrain of the map. Are there any higher elevation points on either side perpendicular to the route of the convoy's travel? Hillsides or building tops or anything like that?
Yeah, so picture it's basically going through like a downtown area. So there are basically like skyscraper-esque buildings along the road that they're following, and there's also like cross streets and intersections. And
Are the streets narrow or are they relatively wide?
they're fairly wide.
How many vehicle widths wide?
Let me look at the map that I made.
200. 'Tis a big city. Lots of traffic. It's a one-way street. Just to annoy people.
They are, according to this rough map I have, if we're going off of that, 3 vehicle widths wide.
You said the convoy consists of 10 armored vehicles?
Mm-hmm.
Any air cover?
We'd have to assume that they probably will, although the Rabid Rancor info doesn't have that information.
How many people are going to be accompanying the convoy?
Well, each of the armored armored transports should be able to hold upwards of 30 men. If they'll be fully supported, we don't know. We have to assume they will be. And that's not including the other Sith who are going to be stationed along the parade route enforcing citizens' cooperation.
I'd really love to hear how the Jedi plan to deal with that.
Well, as I said, I think they're planning on going at him while he's still in the Sith base, before he goes on the parade route.
He's even more safe there than he is on that convoy. The convoy is the place he'll be the most vulnerable. And he's still going to have maybe 300 men.
Yeah, I agree. They're under orders from the Jedi Council to try and bring him back alive. I don't think any of them will disobey a direct order from the Council.
They're marching to their deaths.
I tried to convince them as much.
That might work in our favor anyway.
Well, if they try to do it beforehand, they may cancel or change the plans for his arrival to the Capitol building altogether, and then we'll be left with nothing.
Not necessarily.
Edith chimes in and says, well, perhaps not, because they've already announced the date of this, and it's mandatory attendance by the civilians. If they changed it, that would go against their message of portraying strength.
That's true. I'd also not want to lose the assistance of the Jedi overall in this fight. But if they get captured, then we will have. And they also have intelligence about base locations, our strength, our numbers, everything like that. So if they're interrogated and not just killed, they might know that we're going to attempt an assassination, and elements of surprise will be lost, and the assassination may no longer be possible.
If any of that happens, then we'll move on. We'll do something else. We can change. Any information that the Jedi know about us, we can change. We can change our locations. We can change access codes. We can change comm frequencies. We can change personnel rotations. We can change any of that. By the time the Sith drag any information out of them, we'll have changed it, and it won't be of any use to them anymore anyway. The other thing to note here is, and this is cold, but this is war, and it's a fact. If the Sith decide to blame the civilian population and issue reprisals against them, then that'll drive citizens into our arms. When they realize that it doesn't matter how much they cooperate with the Sith, they'll stop being so willing to cooperate. I know that doesn't sound very nice, but it's true.
I think I zoned out / was trying to read what's happening in the thing. So what's gonna cause people to realize that?
When we assassinate, if the Sith start cracking down on the civilians will be driven towards the rebellion, because they'll realize that even if they had nothing to do with it, the Sith are still trying to be mad at them. Which 100% makes sense, so Del nods. So what you're saying is just let the Jedi do what the Jedi are going to do?
We need at least 40 men, a week to prepare, several crates of anti-vehicle mines and AT missiles and automatic weapons to stop this convoy.
So if we're doing assassination instead, what's the plan? Just have someone on a rooftop? If the Sith senses it, he'll be able to stop a blaster bolt.
That's why we need to have more than one.
Honestly, it would still be helpful to have rockets.
How are you gonna? I'm confused. How are you gonna assassinate a Sith in an armored car without AT missiles?
Well, he's going to be outside the vehicle, so he'd be exposed to sniper shots.
Do you have any shooters that good?
As I mentioned in our earlier conversation, I was going to ask those Mandalorians. So then I was going to ask you.
As far as I know, Ajax is probably one of the best shooters on the entire planet right now, but he's a little busy.
Do we have any idea what speed the convoy is going to be moving through town at?
We can only assume that it won't be too fast if it's supposed to be a parade. They're not just going to zip by.
An ideal situation would be as if we could somehow disguise explosives on the route ahead of time. The only problem is, if we don't put them close enough to the center of the road, civilians will get injured.
And the explosive wouldn't be guaranteed to kill him.
Yeah, any explosive strong enough to damage or destroy that vehicle is going to kill bystanders anyway. That's a bad idea.
If only we had slightly more intel from the Sith side of things, we could potentially find out what their emergency plan was to do in the case of an attempt. That way we could potentially have a failed attempt on him and trigger their emergency response, but we don't know what that is right now.
That might be contained in the intel. I'll ask Picasso about it since he's still combing through it.
It didn't look like it was.
I'll calm him. Hey Picasso, have you found anything else interesting on that intel?
The GM, the roll I made?
No.
No.
Well, we're trying to find out if they have some sort of emergency plan for what happens if there's an assassination attempt during this parade.
Okay, I'll start looking at that then.
Also, if you could have some of your droids try and keep an eye on the Jedi so we know what they're doing, at least a little bit while they're on base, that might be helpful.
Will do. I turn to Bob. Did you hear that?
Oh, is Bob with you?
Bob's always with me. At least Bob.
Oh, I was just having the droids chill out in the engineering room, but I guess, yeah, Bob was with you. Affirmative.
Round up the little ones and work on watching them. If you can figure out what their plans is and they talk about it, let us know.
Okay, all three Jedi roll perception.
I shut the door. He'd have to open it first.
So I'm instructing him to coordinate the smaller droids.
You don't want to rely on those droids, they will most likely be noticed. Mirror can have
Okay,
very
that's true.
adept senses.
Maybe it should be you. We really need to upgrade those little things. And then, yeah, I also just change what I'm searching for. In the intel.
But are we rolling something?
Yeah, roll perception.
Seriously? Why?
Again, I just want to point out, I did shut the door. So in order to spy on us, he'd have to open it.
Well, if he wanted to look at you.
They also just hear you.
How are you going to hear through a door-sealed door?
Because you're a spy droid?
It's not like we're shouting our plans.
Okay, we'll have...
I mean, maybe we don't notice him standing behind the door, but that doesn't mean he can hear us.
Come on.
That's an absurdly high roll.
I am calling shenanigans.
I mean, he built him to
It
be
says
an
on the
enemy
character
towards
sheet,
us.
can
So.
re-roll perception, not cheating.
Yeah, he created him to be an excellent foil for us. We just happened to roll a nat 20 when we were trying to look for him.
And then I zapped him.
Yeah, in like 3 seconds. It was great. We thwarted all the bounty hunters' plans, and we still managed to rip a ship in half.
How does it have
Lots of
that much
lees
bonus?
in those statements.
How can it have that many bonuses? I don't have that many bonuses.
It's specialized in stealth, and it's the equivalent of a high-level character.
Okay. Dal and John and Edith. Are you guys still talking, or what happened?
Yeah. Well, John posted something like, I agree, but if we're going to raid the supply depot, which it seems like we're going to need to do, no matter what we need, what we decide to do after that, we're probably going to need the Jedi's help to pull that off. So, Edith, I would recommend trying to get them on board with at least raiding the supply depot. And also, you said Liam had a plan for that. Could we see that as well? Because we're going to need to get some supplies for this attack on the Sith anyway. And we need to do that sooner rather than later.
What? How many days until the convoy transits?
2.
We don't have time to plan and stage a raid on a supply depot, get equipped, and then go attack this convoy. There's just not enough time.
That's why we need to... If we move on the supply depot tonight, there will be. But that depends on how well coordinated Liam's plan is for it already. If we just have to fill in a few gaps, it shouldn't take us too long to finish planning it, and then we can move. It's still the afternoon, so... If we can do that, we'll still have at least a full day to prep for everything else, and then we'll know what munitions we actually have, rather than wishing we had better munitions.
What time does the convoy transit? Specifically, what time does it leave? What time does it arrive? And what time does it transit through the ambush, the proposed ambush zone?
Well, according to the intel that we stole, it's planning to depart the Sith base around 2 p.m. and arrive at the capital at 3:30. It passes through the ambush zone around, assuming they travel at a consistent speed, somewhere around 2:45 or 3 o'clock.
And what time is it now? 4 in the morning? Out of character?
Right now it's like 4 p.m., 5 p.m.-ish.
Okay, so we have 46 hours.
Mm-hmm.
No, Del, miracles are outside my lane.
Well, how would you propose doing it with the limited equipment we have now? If you can come up with a feasible plan that has a high chance of success without raiding the supply depot, I would agree that it's less risky.
This is hard to do. Out of character, I know what plan I would suggest if this was real, but it's not. Metagaming, this wouldn't ever work.
But if you can convince the GM that would work, then maybe we can have it work.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess let's just hear what your idea is. We'll just see if it would work in the game.
Maybe he can fudge some dice rolls or damage rolls or something to make a well thought out plan be successful.
We need to go right now. We need to scout out around the ambush zone for buildings and sniper purchase places that we can access easily without having to answer too many questions. Get, I'd say, between the 6th and the 10th floor up from above ground level, someplace where we have a fast egress route, so we can get out of there quickly, and perpendicular, or excuse me, parallel to the direction of travel, so that there's not too much deflection trying to hit a moving target, so that he's moving away from the sniper position or towards them instead of across their field of view, and preferably within 300 meters of the ambush site. we find a couple spots like that, and we can station shooters in those spots and just have them all fire at once. Personally, I think that would make for a very effective public demonstration. Maybe not of how strong we are, but certainly how vulnerable the Sith are.
It would show
Yes,
their
wait, hold on.
ineptitude to detect the snipers.
Ida says, "Well, yes, that had been my original thoughts."
Do we have enough rifles and enough skilled men to actually put positions up?
Well, it depends on how many we want. Not all of them will be very skilled, but at least they could be competent.
Well, you just put the the more skilled ones in further locations. But how many are we talking about? I also know how many we could put up without risking discovery.
Well, everyone that we put up increases the odds of discovery, so we'd have to find a balance. But what it's going to take is all 25 of our members taking up positions and trying to fire. We could try that. Even if some of them get detected, the others could still succeed.
No. Maybe I didn't make myself clear. We don't put the entire movement out there on this, because if we fail, then the whole thing is over. It's done. I said 3 or 4 shooters. That means then 6 to 8 men in teams of 2, a sniper and a spotter.
Well, are you good enough to be one? Is anyone else with you?
That droid Picard's house might be.
Well, that's 2, and Liam is 3. There are several
I'd rather
others.
be a spotter, but I can be a shooter if I have to.
Well, you have more experience than anyone who we would send.
Which is why I would be the spotter. It's always the newer guy that does the shooting and the older guy that does the spotting.
Except in Star Wars World, where you actually have to make the roll.
Yeah.
But if we wanted to RP it, that your roll counted as spotting, we could RP it that way.
I feel like the spotter should give a bonus to the position because it's like aiding another, but even better because it's like a hidden position and you're like looking at a specific target. So like I feel like the spotters should give like a large bonus to the attack rolls.
Depending on how well the spotter rolls.
Well, yes, but the spotter should be very helpful for this since it's not just like some guy trying to shoot someone from very far away. It's a very planned thing.
So I have an idea in my head, but can someone spell out exactly what a spotter does and where they're located compared to the sniper?
Right next to him, I believe, right, John?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was assuming, but from what you were saying, that was confusing me. It sounded like they were in a different location. Okay, anyways. And there are several other members who we could get to be the 4th and 5th snipers.
Wait, I thought we were only having 4 snipers and 4 spotters.
Well, if we want 4, fine. I'll find our best man to assist the droid and Liam. And find someone else for John to spot for.
I'll calm Picaz. Picaz, how spec'd out for assassinations is B0B? How good is he with his rifle?
What sort of assassination?
Long range window shot.
I'm not 100% sure. He's got a lot of equipment for a lot of different situations. I'd have to ask him and take a look through his programming to see just how good he is at long shots like that.
Well, if you could find out, that would be helpful. We're looking at setting up an ambush for the parade.
And then I lower my voice. Should I call him back from spying on the Jedi?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
I lower my voice and say, should I call him back from spying on the Jedi?
Has he heard anything?
Quick, out of character question, can he respond like without like over communications without actually vocalizing?
I feel like droids should be able to do that.
I
They
mean,
should be able to transmit the tones through the communication device and not through their vocal processors.
in spite of the silly
Well,
droids.
So it's built into them, isn't it? It's not like C-3PO who like
you
is
mean
holding a
it's built into
communicator.
Alexa?
Yep. Speaking of the droid,
Well, you
Oh, I
said
see.
you still had a communications thing.
Yeah, just like a regular comm unit.
Yeah.
do I see him as I exit the medbay?
The
Or
med bay?
The mess hall?
Oh, we got a med bay. I didn't know we had a med bay. Well, they probably do have a med bay somewhere.
Wherever they. Are you reading our text?
I'm trying to read it, but every time I try to read it, then I lose good track. So I was planning on going back and reading it after this conversation.
Oh, you are in for an interesting story.
I was sort of keeping up with it, sort of.
Yeah, I've opened the door now. Do I see a droid standing there listening to this?
Roll perception.
Come on, Kalani sees it.
Nope. Connie doesn't see it.
Ah.
So close to a nat 20, and yet so far.
Right. Then I go stealth and head to the med bay, wherever they keep the medical supplies.
Okay. Yeah, so because
I
Bob
sort of feel, yeah, he
tells
felt
you
that.
basically whatever was said after he started spying.
So he tells me that he sees them going to, or they're talking about going and taking supplies and going to do this plan.
Yeah.
Okay, I communicate that back over the communications device, and then I also ask him how suitable he thinks he is for sniping someone from long range, if given the appropriate equipment.
I'm not particularly designed for that, although I could do it fairly well.
I relay that as well. As I'm still looking through the intel for any information on what was it? The
Oh, it's like the emergency plans.
yeah, there we go.
Right, so now I know what the three people are trying to do.
Yeah, what their plans are and what they're doing at the moment.
I
Or
relay
going
that.
to do.
Yeah, relay that to Edith.
From the perception rolls onward, you know. Everything before that, you probably don't. Or, yeah, from the GM perception rolls, the 20 and 40,
Mhm.
28 and 40.
So let's convene for a moment to determine what exactly that is.
No. You guys should read it, and then you'll figure it out. If you can't figure it out, then that's all the information you got.
I figured it out. We're good.
Okay, I'm reading it now from the beginning to make sure I got everything.
You don't actually know where Kalani's going. She never said it.
Oh, I know exactly what she's doing.
Dark versus Jedi, round 1.
The extra belt is
Huh?
obviously one of the stealth belts. So wherever one of those would be.
I'm gonna push him out of the window.
Not the worst
And we
plan
have to
ever.
We have to take him back to the building.
That's true.
You have somebody with at least a gift in telekinesis at the bottom he can catch.
I mean, this fails. You guys will get your wish.
Or a very splatted general.
That's what I'm saying. We'll be quote unquote assassinated.
He'll be tenderized for interrogation.
Stop using that word. This is an attack on a legitimate military target. It's not murder.
Mm-hmm. This wasn't my word. That's what Edith said.
Edith's an idiot.
I second that motion. Dumb NPCs are always dumb.
Okay, I finished reading everything.
I know, it's crazy. We only have 3 people to work with.
I'm not sure it'd be any less crazy with more people. I'm gonna be more crazy with more people.
It has an element of surprise to it, that's for sure.
Hey, wake up, go back to sleep. Now, out the window.
That'd be much easier if I was along for the ride.
I think they
I'm not good at
overestimate
stealth.
Gerard's abilities.
No.
I can put people into force trances. It's great.
Well then, why don't
Forcibly.
you come with us?
Because I can't stealth well enough to get into the room.
You got stealth real belt.
That won't help. That will not help. Actually, I think he's trained in stealth, but still not helpful. Especially if there are like turrets and a bunch of people. He's not very good in a fight, so...
You guys are gonna miss the most epic plan I've ever come up with.
It's a pretty epic plan. It's a pretty epic plan if Del didn't think it was the stupidest thing ever. If that was our only option, I'd be down for attempting it. Because it's almost as crazy. It's a little bit crazier than our plan to solve your campaign, Zary.
I think Picasso's plan would probably be crawling up the side of the building, sneaking in through his window, and then killing him in his sleep.
Wouldn't there be like alarms on the windows though, potentially? And,
Potentially, but those.
and can you actually walk
Okay, anyway,
that far?
so let's get back to what the characters are doing.
Oh, I tell everything to Edith.
Okay. Well, we have to go stop them before they do something stupid.
I've already stealthed over to the med bay. I'm going.
Something stupid with your guys' only vehicle.
That's the that's the thing. That is, yeah.
Yeah, Edith calms the vehicle hangar.
Hey, I didn't tell Giraffe to go there. Is there something?
It says Gerard's getting a vehicle from the vehicle hangar.
This is also true.
Well, Edith is making sure that you don't get one from the vehicle hangar.
Yeah, I
or
feel like she
anywhere
doesn't
the
care.
vehicles
Yeah.
are.
I feel like she doesn't care if you get somebody else's vehicle. She only cares if you get their vehicle. and also come over to Dirk, be like, "Hey, do you still have your stealth field generator?"
Hey, I was already on my way.
Yeah, I feel like we wrapped up our conversation before they did.
No, I was asking. No, you didn't leave before I asked Pekaz if D0B had heard anything.
Yeah, and then he had to relay everything through multiple
Yeah,
layers.
it did
And
take a while. Also, does Dirk actually have a stealth field generator? His character sheet doesn't say that he has one.
I thought he did.
Pretty sure we gave him one at
Everyone-
one point.
I think we eventually did. No, yeah, remember? Because we killed all those other Sith assassins on the ship. So there's no
Oh
way
wait,
he
no, you
went-
guys didn't give him one. John sold him one.
Oh,
Oh
that's
yeah.
right.
At least let Kalani try and take it from him before everyone tells him not to trust Kalani. That's just my thinking.
I can agree to that. I don't think she'll be stealthy enough to take it from him. Not sure if he'll give it to her either, because it's his and he bought it.
How much? How much did he buy it for?
I think like 500 credits or something. Okay, Clement,
But-
say what?
I have a question. I'm sorry. I hate to derail, but did I succeed in selling it to him?
Uh huh.
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, because did I have only one, or did I have two of them? Because I still have it on my equipment.
Yeah, you had multiples.
Yeah, because remember we fought those other Sith assassins on the ship, and they all had. I think you salvaged one from that fight and sold it to him.
Yeah, you and Lexa picked up extra ones, and then Dirk bought one from you.
That's what I thought. Okay. Never mind. Sorry. Carry on.
Okay, Kalani, so what exactly are you trying to do?
Trying to find Dirk first.
Okay, I don't actually know where Dirk is, so I'm gonna make a real quick roll here to decide. Okay, yeah, so it turns out he's actually with Ingrid looking at some of the intel they recovered.
Of course he is. Hey, Dirk.
Hi, Kalani, what is it?
Can I talk to you about something?
Sure. Walks out into the hallway with you.
You still have that stealth field generator?
Oh, you mean the one that I bought from John? Of course, I need it around here.
Well, we kind of need an extra one for something. Could I either borrow that or buy it back from you?
Well, if you're gonna return it, there's no need to buy it. Just get it. Make sure it comes back to me. How long do you need it for?
Shouldn't be too long. Day at most. But, of course, things could go wrong.
Okay, we're gonna have you roll persuade. You can roll it with advantage because Dirk actually likes you.